Hi, Vihaan Samat. You're speaking to News9, specifically Page3 with me, Sakshi Singh Litoriya. Congratulations for getting all the praises for your role, Digvijay Singh, for the Royals. How
Thank
do
you
you
so
feel
much.
about it?
I feel great, yeah. It's always nice because you do something 2 years ago and you put so much work and effort into it and thought into it, and then you're waiting for the judgment day because the success depends on how people react to it, and people are unpredictable, right? That's why the stock market can't be beaten. The index can't be beaten by hedge funds. Sorry, tangential point. So you never know. And it's really nice to have people relate to what you do and be empathetic and the main thing is like if I'm happy that I've moved people, that I've made them feel something, because that's our job when it comes to entertainment.
Right. Also, let's speak a little about method acting, Vihaan, because I've got to know that, whenever you pick up a character to play in any movie or series, say, you try to speak to the real people to get the nuances of how they actually act in their real lives. So, for the Royals, how did the preparations go about? Who else did you talk to, sort of get into that specific character?
Yeah, so thank you for that background. I have trained in method acting. It's not necessary that I use it all the time in every scene, but I do fall back on it whenever I'm stuck. Uh,
Hmm.
I luckily for all of us actors on the set, we were given a lot of dialect training, a lot of behavioral training, and a lot of insight into what really goes behind the royals, the royal family. How do they behave? Do they cross their hands? Do they walk this way? Do they curse in front of the family? Do they say mom? Do they speak in English or Hindi? Kamagani, how often is that used? Hukum, how often is that used? Do they smoke in front of staff? All that was discussed. The relationship with our siblings was very heavily focused on. And I'm glad that they allowed us to really work on it for a solid amount of time before going on set, because otherwise we would be like a fish out of water because I have no connection to the Royals.
So, Vihan, tell us more about the bonhomie that you share with Ishaan. Any funny things that might have happened on the sets? Because we saw one specific picture that Ishaan had posted when you dozed off.
Yeah, I so th that picture is basically us on our way to set, and we okay, no, it wasn't even that. It was on our way to horse riding training. So it
Okay.
wasn't even like it was a work day. We
Hmm.
were going 1.5 hour away, traveling through Jaipur to a far out field meant for
Okay.
polo matches. Okay, and we were
Hmm.
exhausted because we've been training day after day and readings and everything. And I was with Ishan and Kavya in the car, and they were chatting. And I dozed off because I was sleepy. And of course, Ishan being Ishan captured that moment. I also have a lot of moments of him doing a lot of random stuff that I haven't posted because it's not safe for public viewing. I think I would like to say that Ishan, Kavya, and I had this lovely sibling bond on set. And my main concern was I grew up an only child. So I didn't know what it was like to have siblings. I didn't know how it was like to behave like one. I was like, okay, how much liberty do they have with each other? I I was lucky in that we found the three of us and we were able to have that bond because really we did everything. We were there for each other in times of need. We watched horror movies together. We made fun of each other. We bullied each other. Um, and eventually in the show we fought each other. So I was very lucky with that setting and with that dynamic. I think Holi would be one of the highlights of our show where we actually celebrated with the royal family. So
Oh.
uh, uh, Gauravi and Pacho were very, very kind to us. They were very, very inviting, very warm. They were kind enough to invite us to their Holi celebration, even though we were living in their house and shooting there every single day. Not living, but shooting there every single day. They still weren't sick of us. They said, "Come, aja, Holi khilte hain." So that was a great day where all of us were just partying with color and the whole everyone was together and we had a lot of fun on that day. Um, then we had just like a lot of moments. Yeah, I can't. Once I start, I won't stop. But this is a warning that Ishan, I have a lot of photos and videos as well that are waiting to be posted.
If Ishaan watches this, then Ishaan, please beware. I
Yes,
think
Ishan,
this is
please
a
beware.
threat from Vihaan. Maybe it's with the birthday post might come out as the most
Yeah,
hilarious one.
exactly. Happy birthday to this human being.
So you told me that you played Holi with the actual royal family. So were there any etiquette training that you guys were given before you met the actual royals?
Yeah, so luckily I had met a couple of members of the royal family before. I'd been to an event in City Palace, and
Okay.
I was actually quite, I mean, from distance, I was actually quite um happy to learn that they were very approachable, very friendly, incredibly hospitable, and had this air of they had this air of just kindness and just almost like unbelievable normalcy that you think oh they're going to be all this this and that, but they're not. You think that they will just be a little bit pompous, I mean mistakenly so, but they're not.
Mhm.
Incredible hosts, just really, and just very down to earth amazing people. Of course they carry the brunt of the title, and they do things and use it in a positive way, and I know they have a lot of charitable endeavors, but when I was observing their behavior, there was nothing of note necessarily that I was like, this, like, this is what makes them royals. They were people, and there's different parts about different people. One thing I did notice is that I think they were very, very calm about um, having people to help them. Uh, they were very assured that at any point, if we, for example, want to procure um, a bottle of 7 Up or whatever, like that will be procured. It's not like how do we get it? It's not that they didn't have to take the tension of how do we get it. It'll get
Mhm.
done. So smile and enjoy the moment, which is a nice way to live in a way.
Mhm.
Um, Apart from that, I think there was a lot of discussions from the production side, and a lot of coaching, and a lot of behavior. The people from Jaipur who came in and spoke to us, and we had very lengthy discussions about because it was important to get it right.
Mhm. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you rate yourself as a horse rider now?
I think I'm very good. I love horse riding. I think I'm actually very good. I was gonna post some videos of me horse riding today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, favorite part about the show, I got to be a proper horse rider. I'm not a very good polo player. I'd probably have
Okay.
to play with a huge handicap, and I can't match up
Mhm.
to actual players. But I can ride horses. I can gallop
So
alone.
let's also talk a little bit about how you exactly entered the industry. I'm going to take you back to your Hollywood journey when you did the debut to Worth back then. If I'm getting my facts right, you played the law student, Patel, right?
Yes.
How, so if you have to map your journey in the acting world from Hollywood to Bollywood to OTT screens, and of course, acing it with the characters you have played so far, because you've got that critical recognition and acclaim from each of the projects that you have picked up so far. I've spoken to you when Call Me Bay came. Then I also praised your work in Control. Now I'm also looking at a grown-up Vihaan Samat in the Royals. So how would you map your journey from then to now?
I think I'm very grateful of the way it's gone because at every point I said, okay, I have to prove myself and I have to get better. And now that what's the next thing? And I hope I get the next thing. And looking back, it's been about 5 to 6 years. Not a very long time, but enough time to look back. I think I'm a bit proud of myself because I started with, even before Worth, I was a background actor um, in a lot of productions in the US. I was on this FX drama called Pose. I was on a Seth Rogen show, I think called Like Father. I was on a Phoebe Waller-Bridge show called Crashing, among multiple other things, just in the background. Maybe I'm even not there in the final show. I'm not checked. So for me, I think I started from this idea that no job is too small. And if you're good enough, you'll prove yourself. And if you're good enough, people will take note and you'll reach the right people.
Mhm.
It's been a slower journey than a lot of people who just explode onto the scene with their first big film. But it's been a very satisfying one because at every point I've had to prove myself and move to the next level.
Mhm.
Um, I'm very grateful for Worth. It gave me what I needed to say that I belong here. Then Mismatched was a boon. Eternally gave me my first lead role. Call Me Way and Control. Control helped me work with a director, my dream director. Call Me Way helped me up the scale and be a Dharma boy, which I'm
Yes,
very
yes.
happy to be. And now finally with the Royals, I'm able to work with legends and have the probably this is probably the biggest budget thing I've worked on. So at every point I see growth and I see something to value, and I'm quite happy. There's a strange sense of contentment that I have.
So do you still audition for your roles?
Yeah, I still audition.
Mm-hmm.
Now recently it's changed. Recently there are films that come and I read and I say, and I sit and then I give my thoughts. So it's a different thing. But it's not to say I wasn't ready for it. I was ready
Mm-hmm.
for it when I was doing work. I had the same sensibilities and I had the same interests and I had the same similar view on things. My
Mm-hmm.
skill set has improved. My tact and my skills have improved, but I think I was ready for it, and now I'm actually happy to be here, where it's more about let's align ourselves to this project and do it in the right way, as opposed to me proving to you that I'm worthy. But I'll be
Mm-hmm.
auditioning for the rest of my life, and I have no problem with it because
Mm-hmm.
that's where it sets apart people who think they can do it from people who can actually do it.
Really interesting. That's very interesting answer. I'm gonna cut it out separately as a short also, or maybe an Instagram reel.
Good.
Really
Okay.
love the answer. And what's next in the pipeline? What are you preparing for? If you can provide me a little bit of scoop on your upcoming
Nothing I
projects.
can talk about, unfortunately. Uh, but no, no. See, the thing is, I shot Control, Call Me Way, Royals, and Mismatch season three, which was very short, in the span of 1 year,
Hmm.
12 months. Now, what has happened is they've all released, and I'm taking a breather to align myself and find projects I take, where I can carry it on my shoulders, where it's a story I believe in, and it's a story maybe I have personal experience with.
Okay.
Because I'm looking at films and I'm looking at hopefully theatrical films. Obviously, with the business going the way it is, it's a bit crazy or stressful. But I'm trying to make sure that what I do now kind of ups the game a bit. I don't know in
Okay.
what way. Uh,
But is there any specific genre that you would want to do? Any specific genre?
we've been talking about we've been talking to a lot of people about a like a dry comedy, like a rom-com drier version,
Mhm.
more rooted, more in the heartlands of India and not necessarily urban characters. So talks have been ongoing, but I can't confirm anything, unfortunately, as much as I would like to.
I want to really understand, your perspective on the Hindi entertainment industry specifically, because of lately we have seen people getting access to more and more global content, specifically through the OTTs, and also people have started expecting more good storylines coming on the big theaters too. So how do you take that? Do you think that nowadays the pan-Indian films are being made, the celebrity is being given a pan-Indian star status? Is that going to work out as an elixir for the Bollywood industry or the Hindi entertainment industry per se?
I think I think there are many players in this that have way more experience and knowledge in this than I do. But what I will say is that back when Doordarshan was the only thing people had, they were forced to watch what the channel decided. Now consumers have the choice to watch whatever they want.
Mhm.
Um, they can watch not only Netflix, but Amazon, Hotstar, Geo. Not only that, they can watch YouTube. Not only that, they can watch movies. Not only that, they can watch podcasts, or they can watch Instagram Reels or TikTok or whatever. Uh, and I'm putting aside going to a theater and or even watching a play. I think this has led to massive amounts of competition between producers and between content creators, where things that just don't hit are going to be sidelined. It also means that there's also possibility for everything to have a niche.
Mm.
But then it also means that when we're trying to compete with other art forms like reels, we're fighting for people's attention in a way that cinema is not meant to compete.
Mhm.
For example, it's not meant to give you the same feeling as watching a 10-second reel about how this guy cleaned this carpet, or how this guy, played this prank, or how this guy got a hole in one on a golf course, or how this guy hit six sixes in an over.
Yeah.
It's different. So I think there's a lot of confusion going on how it needs to adapt. But people who are true to their purpose and the art form will still remain.
Mhm.
The issue is that when films aren't making the right amount at box office, which are soulfully made, people are panning it as a failure, whereas the soul is never monetarily linked. So I don't know what to say about this. I'll be very honest. I don't know what the elixir is, but I do know that once we make cinema that we love and the world also loves, we will have our
Mhm.
stars. And even if the world doesn't love it, we have Shah Rukh Khan, who is a global icon. So
Mhm.
I think that's only good. I think it's only going to get more and more common for Indian
Mhm.
stars to be recognized. Because even when I was doing, I mean, I'm still doing OTT, but I'm when I did Eternally, I was in London at a Pink Floyd concert,
Mhm.
and a person from Palestine came up
Mhm.
to me and said, "Hey, were you in that show, Eternally Confused, something, something?" I said, "Yes, yes, that was me." He said, "Yeah, I love that show." And he was
Mhm.
around my age. And I said, "Are you literally from Palestine?" He said, "Yes, I'm actually from Palestine. My family lives in Palestine." And I would not have expected that. And I have a Polish friend on this game I play who's seen Mismatched independently of knowing me. How does that happen? I have no idea.
Mhm.
So I think it's already happening.
Mhm. Interesting. And last but not the least, because I've been speaking to a lot of actors of your age, I really want to ask you that every actor at given point in their career has got scared of getting typecasted. Do you have some sort of a fear that I should not be doing such characters repeatedly so that I don't get typecasted? Does that still exist in the industry?
Yeah, I think I was scared, but I think people's talent supersedes um, their stereotype in a way that, for example, if I did after a mismatch get only NRI roles, and there's some casting directors who only think of me in that way, but I believe it's their shortcoming, not mine, because after
Mm.
mismatch I did Control, and I did Call Me Way, and I did
Mm.
Royals.
Mm.
So does that mean that work is dried up? No, it is just the fact that some people can see you beyond the roles you play, and some people can't. And that's true of the audience as well, where
Mm.
अगर say if someone plays someone who's not very likable, गालियाँ गालियाँ पड़ती हैं उन पे. And if someone plays a hero, they're worshipped as a
Mm.
hero. So it's some people can, some people can't.
Mm.
That's for
That's
sure.
really interesting. Thank you so much, Vihaan, for speaking to Page 3 here at News9. It was a very interesting chat. I really loved all of the answers that you have given. You can expect some of the shots and reels coming out of it as well, separately, apart from the full interview, of course. Thank you so much, and all the very best for, of course, the upcoming project that you have not spoken about. But yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really,
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the conversation.
I really did.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.
Cool.
Thanks a
Talk to you
lot.
soon.